Hey folks, this is BZ from BZ's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show podcast right here on the SHR Media Network. Before the show, I'd like to take a minute or two to tell you that I give thanks for the blessings that I've been given this past year in 2025, as I indicated during Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. But I want to add some additional thanks and blessings as well. And that includes you, our viewers and listeners, whether you listen live or later in podcast. This new year of 2026 is going to be a banner one for both myself and SHR. The SHR Media Network has reached over 700 subscribers now. For us, that's big, and that took time and hard work. And it wouldn't have been possible without the loyalty and support of you. Those who watch, chime in on our chat rooms, share our shows, watch or listen later on in podcast. We couldn't have done it without your strength and advocation, and it is we who are blessed because of it. And personally, I want to thank my really good friends, Sean Lewis, Jersey Joe, Earl Biggie Jackson, and the Cosmic Bard here on the SHR Media Network. I know for a fact in particular, in 2025, Sean and Joe have put in absolutely exceptional yeoman's work in order to increase our reach, kind of spiff up the place, and make SHR a more professional source of news and information and opinion. That's where I come in, the opinion spot. I got to tell you, they're all great people with super exquisite shows. I also want to thank Rick Robinson of KLRN, who simulcasts many of our shows and has helped us increase our reach, increase our eyeballs, and exposure to more people than ever. So on behalf of myself and the SHR Media Network, I'd like to proffer basically these 2026 New Year acknowledgments and thanks. Because without you, my friends, we couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. So Happy New Year, one and all. It is January the 1st, the year of our Lord, 2026. And 2026, here we come. Everybody, God bless. Best wishes. Take care and be safe. Oh, and here's the show.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I'm pushing them back from the saloon to the airwaves. I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big guns creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've seen the storms, I've walked the line. 41 years, badge on the grind. Now I'm on the air, my voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting from an actual free state in my minuscule studio, which is a lot smaller than the original SHR Media studio, which still exists in Sacramento, California. I happen to be this dude. I am your conservative Sherpa. I have a banner for it. Look, it's down there below. And basically what that means is I'm the dude that guides you through that terribly insidious maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, tyranny, and betrayal. Come on, dude, pull it off. There we go. Where's my face? There's my face. Nobody wants to look at my face. So thanks to all the people who are here tonight on a really strange night, but I decided, you know, what the hell? What the hair? What the hair over? I'm going to do a show. I could not do a show. I didn't anticipate that Sean was going to do a show last night, Wednesday night. So he went and did a show. Son of a bitch. Then I had to go do a show. And then I was thinking, you know, I'm going to just do what I did at the beginning and say, hey, thanks to everybody. And then I thought, okay, that's it. We'll cut. It's a wrap. So I decided to do more. I just want to continue to tell you that what you're going to hear for the next hour and a half or whenever the hell this show ends, I really don't know this time around, consists of my opinion and my opinion only. Sorry, no guests, and certainly not Jack Alexander, show stealer 1A and 1B. Nope. I am doing the job that the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist diaper at a time. We don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversation. We are still serving stiff drinks. Hey, new mug tonight, along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, clarity, context, tradition, and a bunch of common sense. And what do we talk about? We talk about politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here in the saloon, where the speech is free, but the booze is not. I'm streaming right now over a ton of places which kind of look like this. And on Spreaker, but that not live later, Spreaker later, YouTube right now. But also, speaking of YouTube, if, the chat room has changed. It is our plus. It has a big plus, and it's plush, and it's sumptuous, and it's palatial and it's resplendent, but it doesn't quite have the Christmas cheer that it once had, but that's okay. That's no big deal. That's all right. Tonight, the show is I decided to keep the title small and short and snappy, which is BZ's small New Year's Day show, except it's at night show. And that's the name of the show. See, it's short, snappy, and there is, honest to God, Kettle One in here. It's a clear liquid. Now, this is different. This is an actual approved Kettle One copper mug. This sucker is pure copper. And I got to tell you, when you put something cold in here, because BZ keeps his vodka where? Oh, that's right, in the freezer. So when you put it in here, I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, there you go. Kettle One. It says this is a Kettle One approved copper mug for drinking potato water. And you would expect no less from me. So thanks for being here. I'm going to kind of be all over the place for a while. I am going to go first here to the carousel of amusing GURP, and still, I have no damn music for this stuff. You would think that with all the other segments that I have in here and all the music that I have for these various segments, that I will have gotten my shit together. But no, even in 2026, the very first day of 2026, I'm sorry, I still don't have. I don't have music for that particular segment. I want to do two things first. This one first thing, I like dogs. Oh, speaking of dogs, Jake has good days and bad days, and he's been having some really good days recently. This is him yesterday. Now, it's snowing right now. I can look out my window right here, and there's a little light outside where I can see the snow. And it had just snowed. As you can see here, it had dried up a little bit. Well, this is Jake at age 11, and we took him to what we thought would be his last trip to the lake. And I don't know if you can see, but we layered that bad boy up. He's got 1, 2, 3 layers, and the top of it is flannel, and then more flannel, and then quilted, more insulated stuff. And he had a great sniff fest over at the lake. So it's like we were thinking, okay, is he going to be here for Christmas? Yeah, well, no big deal. Was he going to, well, or Thanksgiving, I should say. And Thanksgiving, fairly easy. We thought, is he going to be here for Christmas? Yeah. And then we thought, because for a while he wasn't doing all that well. And we thought, okay, is he going to be here for 2026? And yes, he is. Christmas Eve, we took him out to the lake and had him walk around. Now, we held him. We didn't let him walk very far because he gets really, really cold really fast. And so we snatched him up out of the car, let him walk around a little bit around the good places that he really likes to sniff. And then we could see he's starting to shake, and time to grab him up, throw him back in the car, turn on the heat like crazy and take him back. But hey, he had a good experience that day. Just like I hope that everybody has had a good experience here with my show and with SHR in 2025, and we're on to 2026. Like I said, because this is the carousel of amusing GURP, I found a video first that tugged at my heartstrings. So I'm going to play that first because, as you just found out, I like dogs. And I'd never seen this before. This is kind of interesting. And the other video that I have is, what is it? Like a 104-year-old veteran. Well, you'll hear that. Oh, and he's playing the anthem on, I think, a sax. It's pretty damn amazing. First, let's put this up on the stage. It's not very long, but it is interesting. Just really cool. And then while that was cool, damn, this was even cooler. And so I'm looking down at the bottom. Maybe you can't read it because the print is really small. 104-year-old World War II veteran Dominic Critelli performed the national anthem on the sax at the, what is this? NHL, and I don't know the NHL guys, but take it away on the sax, the national anthem. Maybe it'd help if I turned it up. So, Dominic, now take it away. And the people are singing. They almost never do. Dude can hit the notes. Dude, if that isn't cool, I don't know what is. Oh, okay. New York Islanders. Jesus, I don't know my NHL teams, which is okay because I don't watch a lot of hockey anyway. Anyway, it's Thursday night, the first day in January 2026. Thanks to all the people for being here. You could be anywhere else. I could be drinking vodka alone. I choose not to. So my great appreciation to everybody being here for on the New Year's Day when you could be, balancing your checkbook or cleaning your fish tank or something like that. So anyway, let's start with basically some stories, some new stuff that has come in. There's some amazing things that are occurring. I hadn't seen this coming because I wasn't keeping my finger, I guess I could say, on the pulse of what's occurring in Iran. But Iran, the people in Iran, we need to be reminded that they are essentially Persians, and they share, the citizens share much more in common with Western civilization than do all the muzzy shitheads that run it after the takeover in 1979, when the 78 or 79, when the Shah was overthrown. Iran at one time was a rather cultured country with much more in common with Europe and even in America, until, of course, we saw what the Muslims had come in and done to that country and repressed everyone. And now, because the economy is not doing all that particularly well in Iran, the people have decided that they're just about done with it. And so there are a lot of protests that have been occurring for a fifth consecutive day today. So they started on Monday, and the folks burned a lot of very important places. And also, if I'm not mistaken, a military location as well. Rich, I see you in chat. Thanks. Mission Ready Men, Phantom, etc., the people that I mentioned before. Thanks for being here. So just a reminder that, folks, it's not too late to take back your government. Oh, BZ, are you going to say the same crap that you did before? Yeah. More and more, I've decided that, okay, and here comes the federal hook, exit stage right. You can't say this, BZ. I think we're ready for Civil War II. And I think we're ready for people to stop paying taxes, if for no other reason than federal taxes. Oh, you're going to get yourself in federal prison, BZ, because other people have found themselves in prison as well. And at my youthful age, I predominantly don't care. So what I've said and will continue to say is that, how much tolerance are you willing to display? How many more times are you going to be forced to grab your ankles, be fleeced, have the government come into your residence, turn you upside down for every penny, turn your sofa and bed upside down for every penny, and allow this to go on? If the Iranian people have the guts to do this, why don't we? Well, leftists riot, BZ, because we're busy working and creating jobs and going to jobs, going to our work, being underwater, paying our bills. So we have to go to work, whereas all the leftists that are predominantly doing the rioting and historically have done so, they don't have anything like that. They don't have any hooks to civilization or to society. So why shouldn't we be any different? Because what I'm finding even more disgusting and reprehensible is the people that are turning on America are the people that make me disgusted. They're boomer filth. And yeah, I get it. I was a dirty hippie in the 60s. I was in the summer of love in 1969. I was living in San Francisco. I was voting Democrat. But I came to my senses when I started to have to pay taxes, like most of the people that I surround myself with, including all of you who listen to the show and support me. Again, always appreciative of that. But how long do you plan to let that occur? How long do you plan to let Iran, of all places, show us up? Let me give you an example, if I may, of this. Here's a story from the BBC. And as I've said on any number of occasions, what isn't said, what isn't shown, what isn't displayed is frequently as important, if not more so, than what you do see. So I'll go through this. Netherlands police face unprecedented New Year's violence. And it starts at the top. Police in the Netherlands were pelted with fireworks and faced an unprecedented amount of violence on New Year's Eve, officers have said. A 19th century church in Amsterdam was engulfed by fire in the early hours of New Year's Day, although the cause of the blaze is not yet known. I wonder, was that a mosque? No, it wasn't. It was a church. So elsewhere in the Netherlands, a 17-year-old boy and a 38-year-old man were killed in fireworks incidents. In Bielefeld, Germany, local police said 2 18-year-olds died after setting off homemade fireworks. Well, I'm not going to read all this. Like I say before many times, at the end of the show, you can go into Rumble and look up the show and go into my show links. You'll see this. You can read this at your leisure. So I go to all of this stuff, and I go through here, and I get to the bottom of the story. And you know what isn't in here? I hope you're sitting down, because I truly believe that you have an understanding of what isn't in here. Who are the suspects? Who are the people that are doing this? I'll let you answer that question. But this is, again, indicative of more crap that is being covered up. Because, BZ, just be quiet. Move along. Here's another very strange situation that occurred at a New Year's Eve celebration yesterday in a Swiss Alpine bar. And let's put this up and listen to it, because they finally determined what the hell happened.
40 people are dead following a large fire at a resort in the Swiss Alps. Police say at least 100 people are injured. The fire started during a New Year's celebration. Authorities say the fire ripped through the crowded venue, with witnesses saying they heard an explosion. Rescue crews are still trying to find victims. Officials with the British Embassy in Switzerland say foreign visitors from multiple countries are among the likely victims. Police say they have ruled out a terror attack, but are still looking for the exact cause.
So let me stop right there and bring this up. And this is a very interesting point before we go to the break, of BZ having to learn more for 2026. Now, offhand, you know my inclinations already. And as Mission Ready Men says in chat, you know what? These days, you can't be sure about anything unless you witness it yourself. And that's true. And mostly, I hold to that, particularly today. And then with that statement, in 2025 and 2026, I had to hold my mud on certain things. And then occasionally I had to take a step back and say, what you think it is may not always be what it is. Or are you going the way of the self-fulfilling prophecy? Gee, I sure wish it was. And sometimes it turns out that it isn't. And before we hit the break, there will be breaks tonight. Here's the update. In that luxury ski resort in Switzerland, what really happened is a waiter started waving a sparkler while dancing around on a colleague's shoulder. And the only thing that I can potentially think is that, like alcohol may be involved. But whereas I thought, okay, is there more? And what more is there? And in what direction is it going? Sometimes it's just a terrible, terrible tragedy.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRN Radio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right. You can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm BZ. Thank you for being here tonight. The show has changed completely. And let me take this down. This is what I'm going to talk about next. Here's why. I found this in the closet today. This is a Bobcat hat. And it's not the official Clyde hat, because this is Clyde. He has his own etched mug and his own locale for keeping cigars, because that's how cool he is. But I found this. I was looking for this shirt to wear tonight, one of many Galactus shirts. And in the process of trying to find this, I found the Bobcat hat. I mean, I bought this off of, I don't know, Facebook or eBay or something like that. I don't remember. Doesn't make any difference. But every time I wear this and I deign to go outside the studio here, all the dogs bark at me. They don't think it's me. They think it's a Bobcat. So just because of that, I figured out, okay, well, I got to wear this tonight. Now, the problem with wearing this is not only does it make the top of my head really warm, and I've got my window completely open over there. It's about 20, I think it's 19 or 20 degrees out there. So for me, it's warm in here. For normal people, it would probably cold. But this makes the top of my head warm, too warm, because, the heat escapes off of bald pates, as you well know. But the other thing I discovered when I first wore this about, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago is I can barely fit headphones on. And when I put the headphones on, because I'm normally almost entirely deaf now, I really got to crank up the headphones just so I can hear. And now because I have to hear through this thing, I sound and everything else sounds like I'm talking like this. And it's not very clear. I also need to point out to everyone that while I'm wearing the Bobcat hat, for whatever reason, when I bought this, it came with these, I guess these are either tribbles or tufts or Bobcat balls. I'm not sure which. Gosh, who knows anything about that? There are some interesting stories, and I have some interesting graphics. Tuesday night, I had the end of the year show, and I had a whole bunch of people on. I had Rick Robinson and Jack Alexander and Sean and Jersey Joe and Earl. Great folks on the show. And we were discussing, what were some of the most important stories going on in 2025? And some of the ones that I thought folks would mention clearly up front didn't really get talked about or addressed. And that's when I wanted to go this here. As opposed to what leftists will have you believe, there were actually a lot of wins that Trump managed to pull off in the Supreme Court, some of them at the very last damn second. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a massive plus. We didn't have the ability to cover that, and I was a little surprised. And the other thing that I'm not surprised it wasn't spoken about, but the other thing that I think is a big plus, God, I'm going to have to turn these up even more so that I can hear the stuff that I play. God, it's like hearing, it's like trying to hear underwater now. Okay, at the next break, I may have to take this off because this is not working as well. It's a novelty, yes, but it's not a very effective novelty. So this is something that I think is going to go in terms of Trump's direction. SCOTUS, I think, is not far from abolishing race-based congressional districts. To me, that's going to be incredible. That'll be awesome. That'll be charming. That'll be sweet. And if that occurs, guaranteed leftists are going to absolutely cork off.
And Democrats are testing the president's authority because they're terrified. They're terrified that they can't import, for instance, illegals for voting blocks today. They want to fight him on the economic agenda because we're seeing prosperity. And lastly, these voting right cases, we have to just stop the racial discrimination on Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act and get back to actually allowing individuals to vote rather than blocks of racial demographics. So I think there's going to be a lot of wins for President Trump. And I want this case law cleared up. And
I think this is going to go our way for 2026. I think we may see another very significant SCOTUS win coming up in 2026. So not all is terrible, is mean, is evil. Here's something else that I want to just, again, the article will be in the Rumble venue in terms of BZ's Saloon. And you can read it in depth yourself. 50 wins in 50 days. These are some amazing things. I didn't even ask myself on the damn show on Tuesday, for God's sake. I think this was Trump's biggest win. I think this was the biggest win, the biggest story in 2025. President Trump secured the border in a fashion heretofore unseen, which tells me that if the government truly wants to do something, positive or negative, it has the present ability and the wherewithal to do precisely that if it wants to. And frequently it doesn't. Illegal border crossings declined to the lowest level ever recorded, down 94% from last February. BZ, not February, Febbawerry. This is the speech impediment I have with February. And down 90%, 96% from the all-time high of the Biden administration. In one sector, illegal border crossings were down 99% over 2023. It's incredible. He signed the Laken-Riley Act into law, requiring illegal immigrants charged with theft or violence or arrested to be detained, honoring Laken-Riley. He deported illegal immigrant killers, rapists, drug dealers in mass, and now it's expanded to, oh my God, anybody that's an illegal invader can get swept up. Oh, you said you're going to go over the worst of the worst. Here's what the American media maggots intentionally are not talking to you about. When ICE goes into various places looking for individuals that they know are criminals and mostly not just for entering the country illegally and or continuing to stay, that's illegal as well. But the other people that they come across who may be just illegal are caught in the sweep of so many others. And you know what? It's not like they're going to pat them on the poo-poos and say, okay, oh, we didn't mean it. We're just kidding with these ICE arrests. Go ahead, walk away. That's not happening. And as far as I'm concerned, and I am guessing that the bulk of you think this way too, as far as I'm concerned, all illegal invaders out. All illegal invaders out. I don't give a crap whether you just got your ankles moist through the Rio Grande and you're here. If you're here, if you're illegal, out. Committed crimes, out. All of y'all, out. President Trump is deporting illegal immigrant killers. His tariffs are leveling the playing field. Ever ask yourself why, over the years and the decades, it was fine, it was peachy nifty for other countries to levy tariffs against us, Canada, but then when we started to take care of ourselves, oh, tariffs bad. He's taking on the fentanyl crisis. He's sinking drug boats. He's sought and acquired billions of dollars for U.S. investments. He got manufacturing to come back to America. Tons of things that I was thinking a lot of folks were going to talk about. So I thought, well, you know, maybe I better do that. And just, if for no other reason, just mention them, if but in passing. The long list of ways Trump changed the federal government in 2025. January, Doge. March, Alien Enemies Act. April, Liberation Day and tariffs. June, National Guard deployments and anti-immigration protests. August, court battles. New U.S. roles in Middle East in October. Transparency and Trump and the Epstein files. And like I said before, a negative is every bit as important as a positive. Oh, look at Trump with the young girls that must be 12 or 13 with their faces blacked out. And if it's in the media, it must be true. These weren't young girls. That was an American media maggot hoax. And the point was to denigrate Trump. And by doing that, denigrate you. And it didn't work. Because we're pushing back. All sorts of people are pushing back. Trump has not always done what I think are the best things. I've disagreed. When I disagree with Trump, I talk about it. And I bring those things up. This is the newest one that I'm thinking, I mostly don't like this. And I don't remember where this is from. Oh, New York Times, Bloomberg, Reuters. There is, and I agree, a creeping state corporatism with Trump. You can see this graphic later. And goes into all the various corporations where he believes the government should have some investments. I don't believe that I could disagree with that more. Continuing, there are some positive things. One of them is this. This just came out a day or two ago, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So 5 states just recently banned SNAP purchases. And this is a wonderful thing. Oh, you can't tell poor people what to eat. You mean the poor, fat, lazy, listless poor people on SNAP using your benefits for anything they want to? Well, now there are SNAP limitations. Oh, you can't limit us. You can't. If you're taking my money, then there are going to be limitations, and there should be limitations and scrutiny and authority and responsibility, because I had to when I was in law enforcement. I'll get to that story in just a moment, but you can see the 5 states that have said, you know what? If you're sucking off the federal tit, there are certain things that we're not going to allow you to eat. We're not going to allow you to eat sugary crap and continue your horrible diabetic situation so that you lose feet and arms, etc. And you're even more beholden upon the government. Utah, Nebraska, Iowa, Indiana, West Virginia, and there are more states coming who have said and will be saying shortly, you know, this is not going to play well. Now, let me tell you about the federal government in BZ. I got grants. I won't tell you what program I was in, but one of my programs in law enforcement was there was a grant up to bid, and I had something to do with it. And you know what? Here's something really weird. And I'll tell you another story about Rangemaster and about, U.S. government equipment. I'll tell you that in a moment, but first this. You know, when you take a grant, when you're notified of a potential grant and you hold your hand up and you say, okay, that sounds good. That's a program that we'd like to be invested in. And then you are rewarded or awarded this grant. That comes with a host of responsibilities. There has to be a monthly, well, at least, let me put it this way, at least in law enforcement, back then in the late 90s and early 2000s, you had to make a report. You had to show where the money was going. You had to show cui bono, who benefited. You had to make various reports, a monthly report, a 6-month report, etc., to make sure that you're assuaging the fears of the federal government, that you're not just taking this stuff and doing something else with it. And then there's another individual who was an officer with my sheriff's department at one time and moved to another department in South Sacramento, who took a grant and then didn't report appropriately, and then began diverting money a little bit, a law enforcement officer. And the federal government said, you know, this isn't sounding so good, so we think you need to do time in a federal penitentiary. So that's what this officer found himself inserted into a federal penitentiary because he didn't comply with the federal government. Here's another thing that you need to know about the federal government. A lot of law enforcement agencies and perhaps other agencies, I can only speak for law enforcement, the federal government will offer things to you. hey, we have these various vehicles that you can use. We have, I don't know, 800 M16s that you could use if you want to de-armor them. And a lot of departments hold up their little hands and say, that sounds great. But what the federal government doesn't tell you until you look at the fine print is that they can come for that shit anytime, any day, and you're accountable for it. And when I was range master and I had 800 M16s that were fully automatic, probably a third of which were non-functional and had barrels like your worst nightmare of Peyronie's disease, I was still accountable for that. And having seen the example of an individual before me, decided that I too did not want to look from the inside of a federal joint. And so I made sure that we took exquisite care of all of this equipment, because I finally realized when looking at the fine print, yeah, they can come in and do audits on you at any time. And it occurred. And they can ask for their equipment back in any number of circumstances. So you shouldn't be shocked at this. So when the government gives you something, you should be, in my estimation, beholden to them and answerable. When you're given something for free, you shouldn't simply turn your nose up, and almost the rest of the show is going to be about that crap, and just take it and expect more. And the free ride train is beginning to come to an end. And that's what I mean by the various SNAP benefits. Oh my gosh, people are going to be held accountable and they can't just go out and purchase whatever the hell they want.
Virginia who receive government help for groceries will see some new restrictions. These new limits are being imposed on junk food like candy and sodas as part of the Make America Healthy Again push. Let's bring in Dr.
And people are outraged, I'm telling you, that you can't just go out and purchase any damn thing you want. That with the federal government, oh my God, apparently there are strings attached. Well, only if you are certain personnel are there strings attached. Other individuals, oh no, no strings, fly away. We don't care. Here's a situation which is perfectly illustrative of Democrats, sadly. And it falls under the category of something similar to Happy New Year, leftist motherfuckers. You're getting exactly what you want. So this is, I'm going to show you one more in a continuing and ever expanding pile of rotting American bodies stacked in coagulating swimming pools of blood, sacrificed on the altar of Democrat and leftist philosophies. The title to this is from the New York Post, and it looks something like this: Defund the police group bails out an abusive dad, who then goes on to strangle his baby mama to death. Now, was this a white guy? No. What was his name? What do you think his affiliation may have been? Mohammed Adan, 36. So here's the story from the New York Post. An abusive boyfriend viciously stabbed and strangled the mother of his children to death while out on bail, which was posted by a Portland Defund the Police group, authorities said yesterday. Mohammed Adan, 36, had been behind bars for repeatedly beating his girlfriend, Rachel Abraham, in August 2022, when the now defunct group of police abolitionists set him free, according to Oregon Live. The Portland Freedom Fund, thinking it knew better than law enforcement professionals, decided to bail him out. Senior prosecutor Melissa Marrero said at his sentencing hearing Tuesday. Well, All it did was cost her her life. And so this is, again, more examples of the upside down universe that we're living in. That should we conservatives and or the GOP lose the 2026 midterms this year, it's not just a thing, oh, we'll worry about that later. No, here is now. 2026 is now. And the plans should have been up, I don't know, at least a year ago as to what we're going to do. Now, I spoke to all the people that I mentioned earlier on Tuesday. And in general, most, more than not, had a positive view of what would occur on 2026 in the midterms. And I said, essentially, a lot of this is going to be predicated upon the economy, because the GOP and I think the White House are not doing just a spot-on, incredible, amazing job of trying to explain the economy and simply saying that the economy is great, because mostly the economy is great. I mean, my gas here was $2.29. I found a spot about 10 miles away from me that had gas for a while at $1.11. So it's not just a matter of saying, the economy is good. People have to see it. And then you have to somehow overcome the high-throated yelp of the American media maggots, who will constantly tell you that everything is bad and it's because of Trump. So the potential is there. Yeah, we can do well in the 2026 midterms, but we have to work like hell against the American media maggots and the Democrats and people that are they're nuts. They're just nuts. Okay, so I'm going to set up a little bit of a story, and I think I should be able to make this before the top of the hour, 9 p.m. Pacific break. So MSNBC, if anybody remembers Jorge Ramos from Univision, dude is a straight up Mexican racist. Investigate him and find out. He loves his racist Mexicans. And he's a racist himself. So it should not be surprising that his daughter, Paola, is, when I hear that word, I keep thinking, 60s DJs and Paola. People don't know what that's about. So she's on MSNBC as a host of some sort. Her name is Paola Ramos. And she told a couple that are pronatalists, and you'll understand what that is in just a moment, that there's no scientific evidence that black and white people are genetically different. She repeated it a whole bunch of times, and then I guess you could say something similar to, well, hilarity ensued.
Malcolm, you've said things like black women are biologically different than white women.
Yes, they have different fertility windows. They have a higher rate of fertility complications. 50%.
But there's no scientific evidence to prove that a black woman and a white woman are genetically different, right? This is like,
what are you talking about?
This is according, no,
literally, there are genes that code for their skin color. There are genes.
This is like government data. This is right? This is the National Institute of Health. This is the American Medical Association. Like there is no scientific evidence to prove that.
How to say you're a racist without specifically saying you're a racist, though you come from racists.
And that's a big problem, right? Because
there's no scientific
and that's why I asked,
like IQ differences. Black people are genetically different from other populations.
And I'll say that again. There is no science.
Remember, you're not supposed to argue against the science, right? Isn't that what Democrats and leftists told us ever since 2020, 2019? Don't argue against the science. Don't argue against medicine. Who's arguing?
Scientific evidence to prove that, right? And as people
I'm sorry. I'm stating. Do you want to ask an AI if there's scientific evidence to prove that?
No, I want to ask.
Because what you're stating is just factually incorrect. Humans are genetically diverse. It's not a bad thing that humans
I'm not
are
saying it's
genetically
no, I'm not
diverse.
saying it's a bad or a good thing. I'm saying there is no scientific evidence.
And I'm saying that is a factually.
And he's saying that there is scientific
There
evidence.
is scientific evidence. There is
Based
overwhelming
on-
scientific
based
evidence.
on-
It is
and
the
this is-
basics. No. This is like saying the sky.
Like Democrats and leftists, because we say it, it must be true. Don't argue, just kiss our ass and move on, right?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passionate.
Are you looking for bold, honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleash 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture, struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleash 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional. But it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. Damn, that just about blew out my ears completely. Now I can turn down the headphones. I had to take off the other hat. I wouldn't be surprised if I lost even more hearing because of the volume that I had to put on that. Okay, in retrospect, I guess that was a really stupid decision on my part, but when was it that I ever made a host of really good decisions recently? And there aren't too many of them that I discovered. So again, folks, thanks for being here tonight. And we're talking about this. It's like, it's my, well, I had to come up with a short title, something punchy, quick, short, punchy. So you're listening to BZ's small New Year's Day show, except it's at night show. And I think that illustrates everything that I'm trying to show tonight. And I believe in this. Honestly, I don't think I want a new year this year. I'd rather just have like a gently used new year, like maybe 2006 or maybe a 1998 if it's in good condition, but it's got to be in good condition. So happy New Year's to all you some bitches that are out there that are listening to me right now. Happy New Year's. Here's another story. I'm sure you're not surprised about this. Activists linked to George Soros are training jurors so that they can help marginalized defendants. Now, there are two words that describe this. I would hearken back to 1991. And if you remember any of your history, let's see, the two words that I'm thinking of with a particular individual. Oh, O.J. Simpson. Yeah, that's right. Found not guilty when he, in fact, murdered people. Jury nullification. Hey, does that sound like a thing to you that's happened before? Certainly it is. The New York Post reported Free DC's funding can be traced back to several large progressive philanthropies, including the George Soros Open Society Foundations. And this judicial activist group, imagine that, is coming under scrutiny for what they call juror teach-in sessions to protect those with marginalized identities. Who would those with marginalized identities be? Not actual Americans. Imagine that. And of course, the hits just keep on coming. But wait, now I mentioned Doge. We had spoken, I did an entire show on USAID, and there is more proof of more corruption. And the greater depth and breadth of this exposure, I'm going to continue to push for people to come up on their own the conclusion, why am I paying taxes to have all of this crap used against me? A lot less occurred for somebody dumping tea in somebody's bay a long time ago. And oh, hey, that's right. In 2026, we're going to be celebrating somebody's 250th birthday. We'll get along with that. It'll be a lovely celebration. But despite USAID pouring over $4 billion US taxpayer dollars over 4 years, the great replacement theory turns out to be real. Well, BZ, again, you're nothing but a white racist saying all of that crap and pointing your little pudgy finger, your phalange, back at other people and daring to call them racists as well. Well, do you think I would come here tonight without the evidence, without the facts, without the videos? Because, like I've said for quite some time, do I have to make this stuff up? No, even Galactus wouldn't make this stuff up. I don't have to make this stuff up. All I need to do is have an inquisitive mind and ask questions and then go onto one of these funny things called a keyboard and type in questions. Now, frequently this keyboard is going to lie to your ass. And if you use AI, sometimes AI is going to lie directly to your face. So that's why you have to be a wise consumer of what comes back to you on the screen. And you can't take much of anything at face value anymore until you do your own investigations. And the great replacement theory is here. Oh, BZ, it's just more white crap. Really? Ask King racist Mayor Brandon Johnson in Chicago. Ask the blacks that happen to be in the city of Chicago if they feel as though they've been hosed and tubed with no lube whatsoever, and illegal invaders were favored over them, residents who had been in Chicago for quite some time. Hashtag because votes. So it's not just a white thing, it's an actual American thing as well. So a guy who is a state official, Department of State official, by the name of Daniel Fitzgerald, had some stuff to say and to weigh in. Let's listen to what he said.
There's got to be some things that you're like, man, I wish I could tell the world about this.
Oh, there's a lot of things, but mostly with immigration. I wish people knew that we're letting in criminals daily.
The big issue for the Hill, for our region, is migration. So we poured a lot of money into Central America. Like how much? $4 billion over 4 years. But now migrants are coming from there. Right. Like Venezuela.
Somos de nacionalidad venezolana. Tenemos vuelo para Nueva York.
Entonces, ¿compraste un vuelo con Spirit?
Sí.
40.
Sí, entramos con la cita de CBP-1 por el puente fronterizo.
So what is the end goal? Why are they allowing truly? They want to change the demographics of the United States.
So our aid goes.
The truth is they want to change the demographics of the United States. I didn't make that up.
The female prisons in Mexico. Some of them, yeah. Yeah, to like help train them up.
I'm working with gender issues in Pakistan, so we're trying to retain and advance more women in law enforcement. The question becomes, should we be spending U.S. taxpayers' money in our country on this issue? When is it they don't seem to care about?
Secretary Blinken, how close are you to him? 5 degrees separation. This is such a niche.
Who was Secretary Blinken? Oh, that's right, under the Biden regime. That's who he was.
Tree that flies under the radar. Yeah, the average American does not know. Those people don't know what we do.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much to you, Ranking Member Risch, all the members of the committee, and thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Hey, look, it's
Briefing's
him.
Coming up in 2 weeks. He has briefings? Yeah, on the Hill about the FY 2025 budget requests. And that's like with all the congressional people. Big issue for the Hill, for our region, is migration. Oh my. Stop migration. What are we doing to stop migration? He's not accountable for that, is he? Yeah, we do stuff for it.
Okay. Yeah, we do stuff for it. You can watch this again at your own leisure because I've got so many other things to talk about and show you and display for you. You know, this is the other thing as well. We're going to be turning to this. Oh gosh, what is this guy's name? Nick Shirley. I think I have the last name right, and I think his first name is Nick. I try to not put too much material from Nick Freitas up, but in this case, he happened to really nail it. Go ahead.
You know, I want to give full kudos to Nick Shirley for what he's uncovered in Minnesota, but I think a lot of people are asking the wrong question about how he uncovered it, because they're asking questions like, how is it possible that this independent 23-year-old journalist could have uncovered all of this massive fraud when the government of Minnesota, not to mention the entire journalistic establishment, seemed incapable of doing so? And the answer, I think, is simple when you think about it. They weren't incapable of doing so. What Nick Shirley uncovered was not government or journalistic incompetence. What he uncovered was their complicity in a massive fraud scheme.
Stop.
That's what makes what Nick Shirley did very brave. It's also the reason why he should get security very quickly.
That was all intentional. Every bit of it was intentional. You cannot convince me otherwise of any of that. And that's when, let's go back and review just a bit in 2025. What are some of the things that we remember? And I want us not to forget in 2025. I don't want us to forget the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I didn't know this guy, but once that happened, I became a Charlie Kirk devotee. I didn't know what the connection was between he and TPUSA. I mean, he just really wasn't on my radar until I started going into his background. And then that's when I realized this guy is such a better, more amazing, more facile, more knowledgeable man than I will ever be. And Rick Robinson and I essentially asked the same questions a day or two following Charlie Kirk's assassination. And that's this. I'm 76 years old. Why did you take Charlie Kirk? Why him? Why all of these other people that are killed? They're much better than me. Younger. I'm an old. I don't even have the adjectives for me anymore. Let's just leave it at old. Why was he taken and I'm still here? Honestly, I am still struggling with that question after Charlie Kirk. Let's go back and recognize the relativity of this. Because when I pulled up this story, I looked at a date, and this occurred, if you remember, on September 10th. The assassination was on September 10th. Okay. October, November, December. It's only a little over 3 months since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. That's relatively yesterday, and yet, on the other hand, does it not seem to you, because it seems to me that was 6 months ago, 8 months ago, maybe a year ago, because so much crap is going on in this nation and around the world. 3 months ago, I find that startling. Then there was the ISIS-inspired attack in New Orleans. Brian Kohberger was found guilty of killing and murdering 4 kids in Idaho. Karen Reed's murder trial. Luigi Mangione, Jeffrey Epstein, and on and on. You know, the beloved Luigi, because he's so beautiful. He's a great looking guy. And you know, women can excuse great things from great looking guys, can't they? Here's a great looking guy. That's where I'd like to see him. Now, what's the chance of that occurring? Great looking guys generally don't do time if they're Democrats and leftists. Wouldn't you say? I say. Well, let's continue to move on here a little bit. I want to also illustrate this, that in terms of speaking of, hey, Newsom, 8 Democrats that are in the running for the White House, who might those be? And Mark Halperin says, and I believe, number 8, AOC. I think she's got a damn skippy chance in 2028. Jabba the Hutt Pritzker. Nah. Wes Moore, governor of Maryland. Nah. Andy Beshear, Kentucky governor. Nah. Kamala Harris. She falls into the category of, you can't write this shite. Pete Buttigieg. Nope. Josh Shapiro. Not entirely out, I don't think. And then, of course, number 1, Gavin. And where I'd like to see him, of course, but that won't occur. But I believe those are the people that will be coming up and running. And then, because some people have said that the corruption in Minnesota is vast and deep. And some people, including, I believe, Sean Lewis of SHR's Edge of Liberty, has said, oh, you don't know. You have no idea of the true depth and breadth of corruption yet to be revealed. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm doing the show tonight. Minnesota is the tip. California, Califailure, is the rest, plus all the other states that are being involved. For example, the state of Nevada, what are we finding out? This is astounding. All these discoveries that were being made are leading us and opening doors to Muslim Somali fraud, NGO fraud, Medicare fraud, entitlement fraud, cultures of fraud. The Somalis come from a culture and a nation of fraud and corruption. And then Democrat and leftist and globalist fraud, dovetailing with voter fraud. So on that note, let's bring this in. The state of Nevada's voter roll officially was exposed from the November 3rd, 2020 election. And Senator James Lankford broke it down. He said over 42,000 people voted more than once. Over 1,500 were dead people who got magically resurrected. 19,000 didn't even live in Nevada. 8,000 voted from a non-existent address. I don't know, maybe in the middle of Lake Mead, if that has an address. Over 15,000 registered to a commercial address. Do you live at the bank? Probably not. Over 4,000 undocumented. That's illegal aliens for you leftists. I speak leftist, so I know how to speak to you. And like everything else, how many prosecutions have resulted?
42,000 people in Nevada voted more than once, according to your work in this. 42,000 people. 1,500 people voted in Nevada that were dead. 19,000 people voted though they did not live in Nevada and they weren't a college student. 8,000 people voted from a non-existent address. 15,000 people voted though they were registered to a commercial address or a vacant address. And 4,000 people voted in Nevada that are non-citizens.
Stop. What have Democrats and leftists told us and screamed at us an inch from our face for years? There is no such thing as voter fraud.
My question to you is, in my state, when someone votes twice, and we do have that occasionally, and about 50 times a year that actually occurs in our state, we prosecute individuals that vote twice. Of this 130,000 instances that you have identified from the 2020 election in Nevada, do you know of any prosecutions currently going on in Nevada for any voter fraud?
Not yet, Senator, and that's extremely important. These laws have to be enforced. We, of course, I represent the Trump campaign and the campaign's electors. I don't represent the government. We can't bring prosecutions. But if we are going to enforce voter integrity laws, they must be enforced. And we are confident that although it often takes a long time to put together a fraud case, although it takes prosecutors months, sometimes even years, to go through subpoenas and warrants and using the FBI to go investigate these things, once a good hard look at these cases is examined, an honest look, if we do that, there should be charges brought. Because the ranking member brought up in his remarks that when you lose the principle of one person, one vote, the end result is authoritarianism. That's exactly what we're saying here today.
But aren't you similar to me in terms of this is just mouth music? It just goes on and on. It's verbal vomitus. And like myself, I admit I'm not the most patient of individuals and am even less patient the older I get. I don't become like my father. As my dad got older, he got more accepting of a lot of things. And as you age and get wisdom, you're supposed to kind of, I guess, fall back and relax. And I can't do that shit. The older I get, the more pissed off I become, because I have an historical viewpoint, a window upon, hey, what shit was like in 1950, then the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and so on. I have a wide-ranging perspective of how we used to be a fairly decent kind of nation, and we weren't upside down, and it wasn't an ultimate reverse universe like it is now. And I'm getting really impatient, probably just like you. When are we going to shut up, make people shut up, and how long are we going to tolerate inaction? You know, myself and some other people are moving into the category of, you know what? I'm kind of jiggy with Civil War too. And yeah, your children are going to have to pay for that if that occurs. But like the mechanic, you can pay me now, you can pay me later, but you're going to pay me. There are no two ways about that. And so when I say, what's the ultimate potentiality of stopping this, absent an all-out war, absent bodies being stacked, despite the fact that leftists and Democrats and globalists don't mind stacking as many bodies as possible for their philosophies. The only way to do that, a bloodless civil war, is everybody stop paying your taxes. But, you know, it's like, can they put 1 million people in jail? That's a small percentile of the United States. 2 million, 5 million. Can they put 5 million people in jail? 10, 20 million. Can they put all those people in jail? We don't even remotely have the space for illegal invaders. So when do we finally say at some point, enough? I think I've had enough, because what we've seen now is sufficient to make you vomit, but it's only, like I illustrated here, it's not just Minnesota, it's not just California, it is the tip of an iceberg, and the iceberg below the surface is so much bigger than that. You can't convince me that almost every state isn't involved in all of this fraud in some fashion, in some way or another. But it's like I said, that's what we're seeing. Okay, how long are you willing to continue to see that and simply say, nice mug, nice vodka, I think I'll get stupid behind this? Which is another thing that I highly disagree with in terms of Trump. We already have enough problems with this in the nation. We already have enough problems with fentanyl and overdoses and drugs, though the ODs are starting to go down because we're starting to actually do something about this. But at the same time, let's just open everything up to dope. Hey, I have a great idea. Dope is legal in California. Start examining what happened in Califailure with regard to its so-called management of dope. And all the people who initially went out to get licenses and certifications and answered to the Califailure government, that a lot of those people have let their licenses lapse, I should say, and now they're back to selling it illegally.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wanderer is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It's the last half hour of the show. I'm BZ, the bloviating Zeppelin, or as some people have called me in the past, Biff Zeppy, which is where I got BZ, or Bravo Zulu if you're in the military. Bravo Zulu essentially means, you know what, dude? Well done. Not medium rare. Well done. So, thanks for trusting me with your time tonight. I greatly appreciate it. If you're drinking, as I am, I also want to mention that,
folks, this is BZ's final hour. Step up. Last call for alcohol.
Actually, it's my final half hour, but that's okay. You're here because I'm here, because we're having a beer with fear. That's a record album. That's really obscure, BZ. Do you really want to go there? Speaking of going there, anybody remember James O'Keefe? Remember how James O'Keefe was kicked out of his own project that he started, Project Veritas? And so he struck out on his own, and he's still doing the same thing. And now he's going to be saying, in about a minute and a half, he's going to say the exact same thing that I've been saying for a while. And I'll wager, well, I don't wager. I know that probably an excellent percentile of you guys have been saying, in terms of where the prosecutions. What did I say before the end of the hour, at the bottom of the hour about 5 minutes ago? Where are the prosecutions? How long will we let this go on? And he's come up with an excellent idea that we've all thought about. Go.
I think the big story of the year for us was exposing the government subcontracting DEI fraud. And I wore that ridiculous wig, and I met with these people that were getting hundreds of millions of dollars from the Treasury and SBA, and they told me that none of the money goes to minorities. It just goes to line their pockets. So even if you support these DEI, even if you think, oh, it should go to the Native Americans, it doesn't go to the Native Americans. We went to California and interviewed the Native Americans, and they want all these people to go to jail.
There's only so much we can do as journalists.
Yes.
We can expose it all day long, but if nothing gets done, what are we doing?
It actually might.
But wait, there's more.
Undermine the credibility of your journalism if nothing happens. So I think it's important for us to try to hold the people to account that hold them accountable. My vision for 2026 is we need arrests. We need people to go to prison if they break. By the way, I would go to prison if I did this. So the year in review next year, our work will lead to arrests. And if it doesn't lead to arrests, I'm going to investigate the prosecutors themselves.
Hey, boys and girls, do you dig that shit? I do. Let's start investigating the prosecutors, the people that allegedly are upholding the law, but aren't, paid off by Soros and his kind to absolutely do the opposite, not enforce the law, not file cases. In Seattle, there was an individual who was illegal, committed a murder, was in a Seattle jail, was released. And then we discover after that, not only was he released, but in Seattle, the King County DA declined any charge, didn't even file any charges. So that person is gone, skippy gone, fast gone, not around. That's all intentional. Don't you think it's about time? Don't you think it's about past time? How do we hold anybody accountable? Can we hold anybody accountable? And that's why 2026, this year, is so critical. Because all this, just at the time when the doors are beginning to creak open and all the fraud and corruption and fat cats are spilling out on both sides of the aisle, because they have their power, control, and money to protect. Many Republicans as well, they've been fighting like hell, and they're going to continue to fight like hell. And then everything that we as conservatives and or Trump have managed to place the ship of state in a more appropriate course. Guaranteed, if we lose the House or the Senate in 26, all this is going to come right back at us with both barrels. And you may be thinking, well, can we hold this in perpetuity? No, no one can. So we know that sooner or later this is going to happen. But if we lose in 26, then essentially what you're going to have are 3 more years of a president that kicked ass as 45, is currently kicking ass as 47. There are some exceptions. I told you, I'm not a falator of Trump. I like him a lot. I'd have him to dinner, but he's not perfect. The only perfect president would be me, because I think appropriately and properly, and most everyone else doesn't. Well, I'm not running, so I got to do the best with what I've got. And in 2016, I voted for him because he wasn't Hillary, and I thought that he'd put some good SCOTUS jurists in, and he did. He did both. And as far as I was concerned in 2016, it's like, cool, check, Hillary. Cool, check, SCOTUS. All the rest of that for me was gravy. But now we've come to 2025, January 21st, 2025. And it's not even a year yet. And there's 3 more years of Trump. And if you want to see him, there will be impeachments. And if you want to see the same crap that occurred under 45 relived again, and the entire deep state with 4 barrels of the shotgun aimed directly at him by dint of fact, meaning that that's all aimed at me and you. Go ahead, fine, lose. Go ahead, fine, lose. You're going to get more of this shit. Here are 4 Washington state senators, all chicks, 1 black, because leftist white chicks are destroying this country. It's Lisa Wellman, Noel Frame, Twina Nobles. I wonder who that might be, and Claire Wilson. So they're sponsoring a bill in the state of Washington that reduces the penalties for child sex offenders caught in sting operations. Democrats like her, leftists, insane, mentally defective leftists, want to protect child predators. How does this happen? Well, it happens because there are mentally defective people all around us. The racists are Democrats. The insane are Democrats. You just have to look and be willing to see what's truly occurring, and more of that crap will occur. It will happen. Guaranteed. Here's another issue. Okay, let me put this up here because you guys know what I'm going to say. Hey, look at the top up here. Look at all the stories up here that I will not be getting to tonight. But I wanted to start with this one because now J.D. Vance is saying out loud, this was the 23rd of December, just a week or so ago. He said what I said about a month or 2 ago. And I said, because of the inroads that Islam is making in the UK, soon the UK will be subsumed by Muzzies, and it will be another Iran, for example, only nuclear armed. And so when Muzzies take over everything in the UK, as they are on track to do, because as we know, demography is prophecy, and they're outproducing everyone else, because otherwise various races aren't even meeting a sufficient quota to just keep the population level where it is. Oh, you mean like Japan, BZ? Yes. They have serious problems. Leftist women are not interested in reproducing, to which I say it in many points, yeah, that could be a good thing. Now, in my state of Idaho, this place is rife with families, with parents, with nuclear families, a mom and a dad and kids, and we see them every time we go out to restaurants or out to various venues, or go out to a movie, or go out to various forms of entertainment. Idaho is a very family-oriented state, and that's where I am, in North Idaho. And these people are reproducing because they're conservatives and they believe in the American family. But the people that actually run England instead of the illegal invaders, they're giving up and stepping back from their history, from their traditions, from their cultures, from their values, and they're letting illegal invaders, specifically Muslims, come in and strong arm them. And not only are they not doing anything about it, they're helping them. They're arresting British and UK citizens for saying things, not for stopping muzzies, but for saying, well, you know, I don't think this is a good. You're under arrest. You're under arrest. Ask Tommy Robinson. Ask most anybody else in the UK. I'd love to have somebody from the UK on and describe how things truly are going in the UK right now. But I said essentially that when, not if, when the UK becomes a predominantly Muzzy nation because of demography, they will be a nuclear-armed Muslim nation with access to numerous ICBMs with various numerical throw weights, whose missiles can be measured like Dr. Strangelove in megadeaths per fortnight. And a nuclear-armed Muzzy nation is an enemy of us. Vance warns European nuclear arsenals could come under control of Islamists. Hello, yes, from Captain Obvious. So Vance, who has been leading the charge from Washington against globalists in Europe on issues like freedom of speech and open borders, said mass migration into the UK and the EU from Muslim countries could threaten the foundations of the Western alliance and security of the United States. Do what BZ calls the logical extension. Because when does it become impossible that some Muzzy with a finger on the wrong button could send an ICBM from the UK to fill in the blank, wherever? And then what would be left to do except nuke the entire fucking island for sterile? That's how you better be thinking, folks. You'd best be prognosticating into the future. Oh, BZ, not only are you a racist, but you're a horrible racist advocating for violence and war, all those terrible things. It's the mechanic, and he's telling you, you can pay now or you can pay later. If you pay later, it's going to cost a fuck ton more. But you are going to pay. It's just a matter of how and how much and when. Like Boyd says in chat, I want to see perp walks. Mission Ready Man says, yeah, I do too. Who doesn't? But it's engineering. What do I have? I got 12 more minutes. I got to make sure that I get into a couple of the stories that I definitely want to cover. Social engineering. Go.
Member of the Minnesota State Senate, Mohammed Noor, member of the Minnesota House of Representatives, Jamal Osman, member of the Minneapolis City Council, Nadia Mohammed, mayor of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, the first elected Somali American mayor in Minnesota, and one of the first in the United States. Aisha Chuktai, vice president of the Minneapolis City Council, Ilhan Omar, U.S. House Representative, Omar Fateh, Minneapolis mayor candidate, Abdi Warsami, executive director of the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority, Hamse Warfa, deputy commissioner, Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, Fatia Firayade, Minneapolis Board of Education member, Suad Omar, city council member, St. Louis Park, Minnesota, former Minnesota State Representative, Farhio Khalif, activist and former candidate for Minneapolis City Council, Zoran, member of the
Stop. Are you seeing a trend here? Because I hope you're seeing a trend. And then this absolutely disgusts me. And it should disgust you. Mike Pence wants to bring the band back together. Is that not insane? Well, you know what else is insane? The GOP is not our friend. George W. Bush, the Institute, urges Americans to sympathize with Afghans after the D.C. National Guard attack. The Bondi Beach attack. What does Australia want to do? It's time to take guns from white supremacists. Not one Muzzy is mentioned. This is the attitude that kills. These are underminers. My oath, which I took any number of times for any number of law enforcement agencies, said that I would defend this country, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Lord knows that there are tons of enemies of the United States. And under Trump 45 and 47, a ton of them have been revealed, to include who we thought may have been friends in the past, like the EU or NATO. They are not our friends. This leftist fuck nozzle right here is not our friend. Mike Pence is not our friend. Recognize who these people are and keep them at arm's length away from your beloved country as long as you possibly can. Oh, and BZ, what about chain migration? Here's about a 2-minute video where I believe that Andy Ogles is going to talk about some crazy, crazy data. 90% of migrants, for example, I call them illegal invaders because that's what they are from third world countries, most of which are on welfare.
Unfortunately, my colleagues must not have read the memo, because that's not what they've talked about. They want to talk about ICE and immigration. So let's talk about that. You know, in 1965, we passed the Hart-Celler Act. Since that time, we've seen chain migration on a scale that, quite frankly, I'm not sure even the progressive liberal authors of that bill could have possibly imagined. In that amount of time, we've seen 60 million migrants come into this country, most of which, 90%, from third world countries. There are roughly 300,000 Afghans in America, 200,000 of which came under Biden. Approximately 45% of Afghans.
Stop. Import the turd world, become the turd world. That's just damn common sense. Because, folks, I have to ask you, do you see them assimilating? Them. Illegal invaders. Yes, they are a them. And make no mistake, if France was on our southern border, and I don't really particularly like the French anyway, but if they were on their southern border and doing to us historically what Mexico has been doing to us for decade after decade, I wouldn't want any white frog in here at all. Sweden, Denmark, I don't give a shit about the color or the melanin count. I care that they're illegal invaders. Go.
Afghans are on U.S. food stamps. Afghans under the Biden administration have an unemployment rate double that of Americans. 68% of Afghans are on Medicaid. Let's go overseas. And so if that sounds like political rhetoric, let's look at the facts. Paris, 48% of crimes committed by foreigners, most of which were Muslim. Overall crime has surged since the Islamic migrant influx. That is from the French Interior Ministry. London, 40% of sex crimes are committed by foreigners, most of which are Muslims. That's the Metropolitan Police Department. Rome, 83% of 2024 street robberies by non-EU citizens, almost all of which were Muslim. Sexual assault, 69% Muslim, Italian police reports. Minneapolis, here in the homeland. Violent crime in Cedar Riverside, a Somali hub, rose 56% 2010 to 2018. Dearborn, Michigan, crime 105% above the national average. Hamtramck outside of Detroit. 92% of assaults by Muslim immigrants. Drug arrests, 85% Muslim immigrants. Now let's go to Nashville, Tennessee, where a Somali man, a migrant who came in 2015, raped to death a woman on the steps of a church. I've had enough. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Deport them all. This is our country. We get to decide who comes in, and we get to decide who has to leave.
I couldn't have said it better. How long are we going to tolerate this? You know, people used to say that the Americans are essentially a good people. They're a giving people. They are fundamentally good people. Now I have to say that the bulk of Americans are stupid. They are idiots. They are gaups. And they're falling for words. Leftists and Democrats know how to bandy about words extremely well. I'm going to go to, let me see if I can find this article here. It's not in the same order. I didn't even get to any of the stuff that I had with regard to Nick Shirley. And there, I guarantee that I have videos that you have not seen yet. But I want to show you this. Is there, you know, I've said for quite some time, you know, people talk about replacement theory. Replacement theory is replacement reality. And I continuously have to say, I don't make this shit up. I don't need to make this shit up. All I do is access things that are already in place on the internet. This is from the UN. This is from the Population Division, Department of Economic and Social Affairs, United Nations Secretariat. Replacement migration. Now, what do you think that means? Replacing people in countries, actual citizens of countries, with migrants. They call them migrants. They are, in fact, illegal invaders. Don't make this up. It's all there if you go to try to find it. And oh, BZ, you guys are going to go absolutely nuts. You're going to go nuts if I can find this. Okay, I found it. Here we are. Oh, I saved, folks, the best for last. And especially when I show you the citation and where this comes from. Pulse.com. 10 countries with the lowest IQ in the world. Oh, are you about to step in this, BZ? Yes, I am. When I tell you where this came from. IQ averages are influenced by factors like education, health, economic stability, and cultural bias. Oh, wait, do you mean to say that not all cultures are the same or as worthy as others? Well, I'll say that for you. 10 countries with the lowest IQ. Number 1, Sierra Leone. Number 2, Nepal. Number 3, Liberia. Number 4, Guinea. Number 5, Mozambique. Number 6, Ethiopia. Number 7, South Sudan. Number 8, Somalia. Number 9, Niger. Number 10, Equatorial Guinea. Now, let me go and show you the source where this came from. And again, this will be accessible for you at the end of the show when I post the show on the Rumble side, the video. Go to show links, you'll find it here. Yeah, and I'm saying this because when I went and researched things like this, you can't see it, but you will. If you access the article, you'll be able to see it. 10 countries with the lowest IQ in the world. You can't see it, but up here, this is pulse.com. Pulse.com. Now, countries after websites and HTML, countries frequently are identified as to the source of their material. Well, what you can't see up here is pulse.com.gh. Pulse.com.gh. Well, this story is from Ghana. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network, on Rumble, on the SHR Media YouTube channel, X, and a host of other places. And I'm thanking you for being here tonight, just like I did at the beginning of the show. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and by Shure and Electra Voice microphones. Also by Arrakis, the people that make my mixer. And finally by the Pratt & Whitney Engine Company, producing and manufacturing dependable engines which yield thrust you can trust. No guests tonight. Oh, by the way, tiaras are by My Little Pony. Oh, I can't show you my tiara because I had to throw it over there because I couldn't hear the damn show. Good God, mister. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes. Have a great weekend. It's Thursday night, January 1st, the year of our Lord 2026. I will see you next Tuesday night. Everyone, God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy. Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob. What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing? Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, and good luck.